Good evening, friends. My name is Westo Enrico, or Host Eric, of the YouTube channel Talking with Famous People. And tonight I wish to discuss a topic that was raised in the Talking with Famous People closed group on Facebook. You're welcome to join the group. Just add yourself to the group, and it'll alert us, and we'll say, "Yeah, okay, fine, fine." Joshua Ross said something about the following. He wants my views on Christian ontology and epistemology and or the flat earth notion, and says there's an overarching narrative that connects it all. So I thought I'd make a video on the subject and share my thoughts coming out the gate on it. So I think it's an interesting thing to put together, Christian ontology / epistemology and flat earth. What exactly did he say? Flat earth narrative or just flat earth? I don't remember. Where was it? Talking with Famous People group. Yeah. Talking with Famous People group. Yeah. This one? Talking with Famous People group. Yeah. Where is that thing? This one right here. Eric Strauss or anyone. I'm curious as to your views on Christian ontology and epistemology. By the same token, flat earth also. There's an overarching narrative that connects a lot of this. Okay, well. Fine and dandy. I find it an interesting comparison because it would seem to me that flat earth is a specific kind of narrative, and Christian ontology narratives or Christian epistemology narratives, which are distinct things, those are other kinds of narratives that they're kind of apples and oranges. So it's an interesting thing to put juxtaposed next to one another. The reason I say they're different kind of narratives is because a flat earth narrative is one that is a claim about a physically verifiable fact. So claims about physically verifiable facts, in other words, claims about the measurements of the physical world, are subject to something close to absolute verification or falsification within certain frame levels, certain levels of framing. So, like if I say that rock is about 10 pounds, and you weigh it and it's 10.5 pounds, then you go, yeah, it's about 10 pounds. And it would be difficult to say that within whatever frame, it depends on the frame in which you're measuring it, obviously. Some frames are going to be like, well, it matters. Every last microgram matters or something. But let's say bananas. You're buying bananas at the store. You buy 5 pounds of bananas. If you go up to the register and you have 5.1 pounds of bananas, and the machine calculates that and charges you for that. Now, if you had 5.2 pounds of bananas, it would make that thing. But if you have 5.15 pounds of bananas, it just stays at 5.1. It doesn't have that next level of digit, right? So you could say you never get a precise measurement of how many pounds of bananas you're actually buying. Or more correctly, you could say you always get a precise measurement of how many pounds of bananas you're buying. Because what you're really buying is approximately, between 5.1 and 5.2 pounds. That's what you're buying. And so in that sense, because it's weighed at the right decimal point level, then you're going to get an exactly correct correlation between weight, how much bananas you actually get, and what you pay for them. Hi, Mom. What's going on? What you got there?
Okay, I'll see.
Alright, so Mom's arrival suddenly makes me segue into Christian ontology briefly before I get back to
Okay,
I get. Well, let me finish on the bananas a bit. The thing to note here is what makes claims about the physical world more absolute in some regard is that the objectivity of the data is both evident to everybody because it's it's actually a physical thing, right? Like, if I say behavior X is immoral because it's a rights violation, that's a lot different than saying, look at the scale. It says 5.1. You get a group of people all standing around, they're all looking at the scale, and everyone goes, yeah, it says 5.1. And the person in the line is going, but this is only 4 pounds of bananas. Well, we'll try a different scale then. No, that was 5.1 too, as well. Because what you're really saying is, within the rules of this frame, namely buying bananas at the grocery store, this thing that you have in your hand that you're trying to buy qualifies as 5.1 pounds. Either all the scales are off, in which case it still qualifies as 5.1 pounds. Now, if that were the case, then you'd appeal to a different level of authority, so to speak. You go to the weights and measures people of the state of California and say, okay, their 5.1 pounds is different than everybody else's 5.1 pounds. But even so, you couldn't say to them, well, I'm going to pay for 5.1 pounds of bananas, and then I'm going to steal another pound because your scales are off. That's not okay either. You have to deal with the problem as it is. You can't circumvent it in that fashion using the problem to justify it because you don't have any obligation to shop there at all, and you have alternate remedies. So in that regard, one can say claims of measurements about the physical world are fundamentally more objective only insofar as they reference data that everyone can see equally well, and it's concrete data that links concretely to physical objects. So if the problem with the flat earth thing, the only reason the flat earth narrative can really take off and hold people's attention is because there's no specific flashing number on a scale that says 5.1. It's hard to come up with one that would successfully give people the intuitive sense that the Earth is a sphere based on a single measurement like that, because the spherical quality of the Earth is in fact a measurement of the Earth, it's a kind of measurement, but it's not the kind of measurement that is made that we normally make by being external to something and having it be another object within our shared field, namely the Earth. When we look at the Earth itself, it is the field. So it's very difficult for us to intuitively grasp looking at it from outside the field and saying, okay, now let me make measurements about the field itself. The nature of a field is that you assume it can be ignored safely in order to do things upon it and score points according to the rules of whatever game. Christian ontology. My mom poses an interesting question for Christian ontology. So, if there's a soul, which would seem to be suggested by the constancy of a personality throughout a person's life. Now, look, obviously they change in some ways. It's like people grow, people evolve into more or less optimal, evolve or devolve into more or less, respectively, optimal versions of themselves. But
you feel better afterwards, don't they?
Mm-hmm. They're still the same person throughout their life.
Yeah. It literally put it right there when we started to eat. Well, we'll talk about it a little bit first. They walk out.
It's one of those things that's hard to prove or establish in ways that people find satisfying. Because if you could watch the video of me at age 17.
Oh, he is.
It's up there on the channel somewhere of me being interviewed by the high school television thing for this segment on the new law in Arcadia about parties. I was the same guy then as I am now. And you can see it. It's just I was young. I didn't understand. I had a less nuanced understanding of FE. I wasn't as polished, and I obviously hadn't eaten enough cheese yet. But same guy. I knew nothing about cognitive functions. So it's impossible that it would be self-fulfilling. And anybody you've known your whole life, or known their whole life, like your kid or something, you'd agree, this is the same fundamental person she was when she was a little girl, she is now, except she's the grown-up version of it. Delilah was the same way when she was a little girl, she is now. Same way, except now she's more successfully built, faces, facades, or whatever. Or she's pretty good at, like, not revealing stuff, I guess.
No, we don't know yet.
Whereas she used to not be so good at that as a kid. People change.
Well, she'll be out soon.
How well they execute certain aspects of themselves, or
Yeah,
whether or not they have the kind of algorithms or native interactive
I was really surprised.
brute strength, I guess, or something. I don't know. Whatever I'm trying to say. Complicated topic, I guess, or troubling topic. But for Christian ontology, if mom has a soul, well, something's happened to it, because she's not exactly the same mom as she was at all. I can see the remnants of I see the ruins of it. It's an interesting way. It's interesting the way that her state reveals things about cognitive functions. You can listen to her doing FESI, and
You
even
have to do those other ones that were there before she looked at the others.
have to do the other ones before.
Yeah, that was the first one. So that she's herself.
And why is that important, Mom?
Well, I don't know if it's in that apartment or whether outdoors or what. But anyway, that's one of those things. I bet you're a nice little place that you're, oh, this is better. I know that's what I did many a time. I'd say, no, I can't. Oh, but I know you'll help me. You can do those things.
That's great, Mom. Some good FE bonding. Oh, thanks for the pat on the shoulder, Mom. There's some FE without a lot of content in it. It's just sort of, I don't know. It's hard to say if she's referencing something or not. Is it a language problem or an actual, to what extent are there still ideas that are expressed or attempted to express? What do you think about that, Mom?
I think, as old as you all are, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Because you can do it that way. But if you were trying to get a little child, no.
No. So you see, those are sort of like FE scripts, right? Without any context. You just say, well, here's an FE script, here's an FE script. She likes FE interfacing. She finds it comfortable to chat.
Right up there on the, right there, there's one like that.
Maybe. Right where?
Huh.
I don't know. And then sometimes you'll see some SI, although that's diminishing somewhat. But she'll still sometimes talk about her mom, and people who are long dead, and And then she'll sometimes remember that they're dead. She's kind of getting, she has been for a while now, a little obsessed with death. Sometimes, I'm driving the car and I start going on the freeway on ramp, normal speed, but for her, just like she insisted on leaving her jacket on today. 92 degrees. It wasn't until we made it out all the way to the car that she finally was like, "Oh, it's hot," and took it off. I was trying to get her to take it, leave it on, take it off right when we got outside, and she's like, "No, it's cold." And Mom, it's 92. It's not cold. But anyway, so Christian ontology. What can I say about that? Christian ontology basically says humans have a soul, that their identity or their being is a moral agent who has free will and has a moral obligation not to sin, but the capacity to disobey that, or not, or capacity to fail to fulfill that moral obligation. And in fact, that every human being always, unavoidably, will sin some in life. That it's not possible to fulfill that moral obligation so well that you don't need forgiveness. It's an incredibly powerful message because it really resonates with me right now that without forgiveness, without humility and reconciliation, human interaction is spiteful and nasty. Of course, Christianity also tells us that without repenting, there's no absolution. That absolution requires penance, requires confession. It's so listen. The interesting thing is, the message has never resonated with me more powerfully than it does now in all of its glory, in all of its TI glory. But I absolutely did not start this video thinking I was going to make any of these connections. I just opened Facebook because I'm waiting for this German chick to message me back. She was like, "Oh, I want to talk to you." I'm like, "Right on, that was quick." I'm happy to get a little response there. Somebody likes me, maybe. Okay, good. Not everybody hates me.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to her, but she's like, "Well, I'm going to be gone all day long." Okay, well, I'll have to talk to you tomorrow, I guess. I have no idea what she looks like. I know she's 41 years old. Anyway, so I went onto Facebook. I was trying to explain to you why I went onto Facebook. But what happened, I went on Facebook to see if that's why I went there. It doesn't fucking matter. It's not part of the story. When I went on Facebook, this thing that popped right up was the thing that I showed you there or did I show it in this take? I took like 3 takes of this thing. Where I started it like 3 times. Where someone, what's his name? I forget his name. Said about Christian ontology and flat earth, right? And that was popped up right in front of me, and I was just like, that's a weird juxtaposition. This seems like a good topic that can draw a contrast between metaphysical things and physical things and talk about how, the objectivity isn't actually contained within the fact that the physical object has everything to do with how universalizable the concrete manifestation of the data is in front of you and blah, 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 blah. Well, really, I'm not making that connection at all right now. I'm thinking, Amen.
These are better. These are better than those other kinds.
The Slavs are all.
They're better if they're just as everybody can.
Slavs are are all leaning back. Each of the slabs is leaning back right now against a bar or something.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Sitting back at drink and feeling pretty self-satisfied with the slickness with which they play with me. So it's their prerogative. And that's the thing. You just don't just be humble to the slabs, as as you will, as you wish. Be like Wesley was to Buttercup in The Princess Bride prior to her falling in love with him, back when she was a bitch. And he cured her, and he just said, "As you wish." Probably that's what I should have done, I guess. And then Buttercup finally fell in love with him. Anyway, just be like that with the slabs. And if you don't like it, just keep it to yourself.
I like it to a certain amount, but I have never.
Just say I accept it
Well, no, I
as
continue
humbly
to
and with
read
as
it
much grace as I
because
can.
it's
My perspective, but I like it or not, doesn't matter. So if I'm conveying it all slabs that I don't like it, and it's not intended to insult you or you know, bust your chops or try to tell you, hey, it's just me being moist and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for getting my moisture on your carpets. Okay, that's what you should do with slabs. Now, Zandy asked a question, what are the slabs? The slabs are the powerful forces that be. Um, so what of my mom's soul? Do you have a soul, Mom?
well, usually it's just some, and then rest of it. Then that was. It's more like that than anything else.
A word.
Yeah.
Mom?
It looks like somebody got hurt very badly.
Who?
Or maybe she got sick, or
You?
no, I don't think it was me, but there they are.
There they are. What are they doing? Those two crazy people up there on the screen.
Oh yeah.
So, Mom, what do you think happens after we die?
Well, I think it depends. You have to look at the other things. Is it did they use this mainly through one of the others, maybe one like east, and then they put some things around that they show exactly where they want to eat. What do you think that is over there?
This?
That man or the one there?
You?
Not me, but look at.
Back there?
Well, no, I want right where. Then her hand comes down, and then she can take one out.
I don't know, Mom. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure what Willis is talking about. Okay, so, if she has a soul, is her soul the same as it's ever been? Or has it decayed in some fashion? If after death, will she be somehow restored to her previous self? Why is her previous self more herself than her current self, given that a self comprises a lifetime? These are interesting questions.
Well, I have.
Is there?
I have that, and I know how to answer it. So,
Oh, go ahead.
well, not now, but when.
Is there a component of the self that is steady, unchanging soul, and the manifestation of the self through words, language, and sort of identity builds and stuff is, though it may seem like the self to us as we move through time, is actually extraneous to the self? I don't know. I would say that we go through our experiences and we process them in different ways. And
I think the best thing we did is to be taking that whole section all the way from the moment you would say that they used to go, and then you, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day, and so on. And they did.
FE FE algorithm, FE not even algorithm, FE script, FE like MIDI trigger, you know. So anyway, the point is, I guess, there are different kinds of facts. The reason Christian ontology is different than flat Earth is because we're really talking in Christian ontology about what it means to be a moral agent in the world, which is a question that definitely has answers, some of which are more fundamentally satisfying and ring more true than other answers, some which have steeper or less steep rhetorical slope, but that the ontological process of the human being in Christianity involves humility first and foremost. It involves recognizing that as human beings that moral duties exist and that we are flawed. We don't always uphold them. Christianity accounts for both positive moral indications and negative moral duties, but doesn't draw the distinction very clearly, and doesn't ascribe, however, very many positive moral indications as duties. Rather, it prescribes them as moral indications. You know, help the poor, wash the feet of the lepers who have
When you finish it,
foot
you'll have those
disease
things that they want.
with your mouth. Which is really Christian of you. The thing is, of course, those narratives, like all narratives, are subject to abuse. But unlike a lot of other narratives, they have a fundamental truth to them that just resonates as righteous. You have to be able to acknowledge your sin, repent, confess it to your priest or your loved one or somebody that you can trust to take it seriously and take you seriously and allow you to experience the process of self-correction, or of grace, you know. I would say it may not be the case, and it is not the case, that the righteous path is never angry. But it is the case that the righteous path is never spiteful. And it is the case that the righteous path never excuses itself or its own actions because of the actions of others. That it says, I'm worried about my own sins, making amends for those, attaining absolution, seeking forgiveness. Because if I don't, it'll sicken me. I won't sit here and say, I did these bad things, I'm a bad person. I'll sit here and say, I did these things because you made me. You're responsible for the bad things I did. Or the bad things I did were fair because you did bad things too.
Well, we'll give it a try. And then in the meantime, we've got people doing other things, so we can
But the righteous path will say, I've done bad things. Please forgive me. I am human and I need to be loved. If, in other words, you want to be a righteous person, you seek forgiveness Christianity talks about forgiving others. Probably doesn't talk enough about seeking forgiveness, but it does, and it recommends seeking forgiveness from God, from Jesus. But there's another equally important component to that, which is penance or making amends, fulfilling matters of liability. One incurs moral liability when one commits wrongdoings, and for millennia, Christians have tried to determine exactly what it means to pay out that those, what are they called? Restitution. To pay out that restitution for metaphysical harm. So if I've hurt your feelings,
No. It's
I haven't cost you any actual monies. I haven't damaged your car. I haven't injured you in any way physically. Well, what's the restitution for that? Well, let's force that guy who called her a name to pay her money because he hurt her feelings. That's not gonna work. The path of actualization is the guy says something to hurt her feelings. Later on, he apologizes for having hurt her feelings, even if he can justify the thing he said, and expresses some sort of genuine wish that perhaps he had either chosen not to speak in that moment or phrased it differently.
If they had known that for long enough and knew what he was doing and all that, and she was, and I can see them going on another thing and getting more, and then just wait for.
Now note, there's an authenticity issue here. All of these things that people can authentically do justly and righteously with each other can inauthentically be used to as arguments, as adversarial arguments. Well, you're failing to fulfill this thing, you know. So the issue of Christian epistemology is an entirely separate issue, and I don't even really know what to say about it. I'm not sure what the epistemology of Christianity is. I'm not sure Christianity is clear on how or why people know things. I'm no scholar of Christianity. It's worth noting here before I end this video that both my parents are atheists, and I was raised as an atheist, and neither of them have any respect for Christians or God or anything like that. But I consider myself a Christian at this point, unabashedly so. And the reason, of course, is because the Slavs have made it clear to me that they're not at all incompatible with Christianity.
I remember we did that one time, and I was so mad at myself I got some spit.
Alright, well, it's like, look, here's the thing about it.
Well, I'll have to get all this gone and out to do that, but I'll do it when I can. Don't worry.
The Slavs are like, well, God, the Trinity, God, the Holy Ghost, Jesus Christ, like any organizational well of power or directionality in the universe or purpose or whatever, well, they have agents in the field. And the agents they have in the field are the Slavs. But note, Slavs, once in the field, I'm not certain at all they have any concern for what happens to the people down below. I've got this notion that, God and Jesus do, but I don't think the Slavs care at all. The Slavs are kind of, you see, the Slavs will watch you. The Slavs are giving you random shit here and there. Some of it's pretty obvious, and you can go, okay, I'm supposed to think that. Some of it's unclear if it even is coming from the Slavs. It could just be randomness. Some of it is stuff that links to things in nuanced ways that you're likely to misinterpret and get wrong. So, and there are traps. This lab set traps for you. Um,
For him?
for everyone. I mean, look, different people are more slab pitch sensitive than others. There's definitely slab deaf people. My dad's, I think, antipolar is pretty slab deaf, probably. Then there's slab sinks. I'm a slab sink. Spacey's a slab sink. Slab sinks are basically like hubs, like Atlanta, where varying different sets of slabs work to come together and conjoin and share resources with each other. Because for the slabs, our various follies are resources. So slabs position, I guess you'd say, temptation out in the world for people, and then they either engage in folly or righteousness in response to that temptation. If they engage in folly, then the slabs grind them into meat because there's a natural economy to it. Those who respond righteously, even in the face of folly apparently winning, which is a common slab trick, let folly apparently win, and until you just go, well, fuck it, then I'm going to be an asswipe too, and then you'll see what happens. Slabs will give you warnings. You ignore those warnings, ooh, you're in trouble. I pay attention to the warning from the slabs about when I broke that glass thing over the porch. It was clear that was a slab because it shattered big pieces of glass, and a couple of them nicked like the tip of Kimberly's fingers and stuff, but somehow everybody was otherwise completely unhurt. It's just like, you better control that anger, Eric. Or next time, I could be tomorrow's sausage.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking for those others, because they can't even walk out there and do that.
The nice thing is, most of the time the slabs leave plenty of escape routes. So you're not doomed, even if the slabs are currently working you over, because you're going nina to them. Then there are, by changing and taking the righteous path, there will be slabicular consequences, and you can't just sit there and wait and expect them and get frustrated when they don't happen, because then the slabs are just testing you. They're going to make you wait for it.
That's
You just
true.
got to go about your business. And
But if you want to do
being a slab sink is an odd phenomenon. It doesn't mean anything necessarily exciting or great happens to you, but it seems to mean that a lot of narrative arcs intersect through you, like I was saying. Also, slab sinks, when a remarkable amount of mountains have been moved to get a slab sink in the mix, they're slab sink. Like, how is this Spacey ended up here? Well, he's a slab sink, and not all my previous people who've ended up here have been slab sinks. In fact, he's the only one. Like a Tigger. Right, Mom? Hmm?
Oh, no, I think this is fine.
So,
Or just let,
I'm pretty sure the Earth isn't flat. I'm trying to think about possible ways in which, it could even conceivably be flat.
well, you've done a lot better recently. One
If
of
it
the
were
times-
flat,
Yeah. That one, not this one. This is still great.
is it like a thin mint, or is it like
Now I'm trying to see. It
a big
says-
cube, or if that would be flat, that'd be a cube. I mean, if it's flat, one side would be
Well,
flat.
here they say.
I don't really know what they say about flat Earth. Why
Yeah,
what makes it flat?
what's inside your pipes?
But I don't have any. I just think, of course, the Earth isn't flat. And regarding Christian ontology and epistemology, I just think the resonant truth of it makes it predominant. And it's the only one that has that truth. Other religions are FE or TE or whatever. Okay, that's it. I'm getting pretty tired. I gotta get mom to bed here pretty soon. I gotta smoke a cigarette. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. It's a long video, actually. 40 minutes on Christian ontology and flat Earth.